tuning in. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio this Sunday afternoon. I'm Shannon Register, and every week we bring you news and information you can use on your next real estate transaction. You can find anything that you missed on today's show. You can catch it over on HoustonRealEstateRadio.com, and we also put videos of all the shows up on Facebook. So if you haven't joined us on Facebook, make sure you do that. If you have got a question, you can always call it into us at 281-882-8088. We're also on Twitter, and you can tweet me your questions using hashtag HRER. That number again is 281-882-8088. If you've got a real estate question, I always like to answer your questions right here on the air every Sunday afternoon. So we've got a lot packed into the show for you today. We're going to talk about some very important issues that have to do with homeowners associations. Most people around our Houston area live in an area that has a homeowners association. So we're going to be diving into a couple of really important issues that are going on with homeowners associations. And you don't want to miss those. Right here in the RREA.com studio, I've got Dr. Jim Gaines Skyping in with us. He is Texas A&M University's real estate research. He's from the Real Estate Research Center. He's a real estate research economist over at Texas A&M University. He's Skyping in, joining me today. He's got over 35 years experience, broad array of things that he's done in the past that have to do with real estate. Always brings us lots of great information. He contributes to the show frequently, so welcome back to the program.
Well, thanks for having me.
So how are things going? We had such a busy summer. It was just such a crazy summer with not enough inventory on the market, and then somebody would find a house, there'd be multiple offers, they went quickly, and now we're in fall. Is it slowing down now?
I think it's going to slow down a little bit. In fact, the July to August numbers that just got released here not long ago indicated just a very slight fall off in the number of sales during the month of August relative to July. And I won't be surprised if September, but that's a normal pattern. Mm-hmm. We've gone through the sales season, if you will, of spring and summer. Most people try to get all of their transactions done before school starts and that sort of thing. So falling off in August, September, fall off a little bit from the peak of June, July is not unusual. And then it'll continue on into October, November, December, January, and then pick back up in February. Now this year, the degree or percentage drop might not be quite as much as it has been in the past because it's still an active market. People are still very much interested in buying a house. A lot of this pent-up demand that's been talked about over the past 3 or 4 years when the transaction volume was a little bit down. Prices, of course, are still going up. We're going to set records for median price and average price homes going through on the market this year. The inventory number has steadied at the 3.3, 3.4 month level. So it's been steady that way for the last several months. That still is a bit of an issue. And that's the reason, as you were just describing, properties getting multiple offers and above list price because the inventory selection is a little tight.
I still have some buyers out there who just can't find what they want, especially those buyers that are ready to retire and want to buy some land in Montgomery County and build on it. It's hard to find any land available to build on.
Well, it's hard to find what you want, where you want it for the price you want. But, tell me something else is new.
That's right. That's the problem. And you know what? When they could find what they wanted, they didn't have the money, right?
They didn't have the money or the capacity to do it.
Right.
Now, there are a lot of other, there are a lot of things going on. The number of distressed sales is down. That's one reason, for example, our statistical measures of average price and median prices tend to go up a little bit because the distress level sales are not as high.
Right.
Mortgage financing is still tight in terms of credit and underwriting standards, and that generally slows down, bogs down, however you want to say it, the lower price market in particular, where people have a little more trouble qualifying. It's also true that we're still having a lot of all cash sales where the financing really isn't the issue because people are coming in with all cash. I was talking with someone this morning and I was speculating. I don't know. I don't want to go on the limb and say I'm projecting it, but speculating that maybe we're just about run the gamut of all cash buyers. I mean, how many people out there have anywhere from 150 to $300,000 of cash to put in a house. Although surprisingly, it's quite a few, and we've been seeing a lot more of that. The other thing, of course, interest rates are going up. I assumed you were going to eventually ask me about that.
Absolutely. Where are we going with those?
They will change.
They're just going to continue to go up, you think?
No, they're going to change. I don't know. Yeah. The Fed is going to allow the securities market to let the 10-year Treasury go up a little bit. And the 30-year fixed rate mortgage is generally a function of that 10-year Treasury bond. And it jumped up in May, June, July. We're up about 100 basis points, 1 percentage point. We've gone from roughly, in round numbers, 3.5% to 4.5%, 4.6% on the 30-year fixed rate. And quite frankly, the best guess is that there's still, anywhere from about a half a percentage point to another full percentage point that it's likely to change in the coming months. Now, I don't know whether that means the next 3 or 4 or the next 6 to 9, but in the coming months that it is likely to creep on up a little bit and get there. The rate will still be attractive by historical standards. It'll still be relatively low. It's just not going to be as attractive as that 3.5 that we hit here about a year ago.
Are we ever going to see those again?
Nope. In our lifetime, Shannon, probably not.
Probably not.
At least mine. I don't know. You're a lot younger than I am.
Still a seller's market?
Still a seller's market. That's that low inventory, high demand.
One of the things I've found, in a true seller's market, you see sellers really holding out and buyers having to absorb a lot of costs that they would normally ask the seller to cover, seller concessions and so on. And one of the things that I'm seeing is a lot of these sellers are borderline. They're not upside down, but they don't have money to bring to the table, or the house needs repairs that they can't get done. And so although it's a seller's market, they're having to, the buyers are not necessarily able to ask for a whole lot because the seller can't necessarily give them a whole lot.
And that's true. And it makes it for interesting negotiations between the buyer and seller to see who can do what for whom or to whom. It also is indicative, though, because of the way you were describing that, of who's selling. People who, and one reason that properties are coming on the market now is that some of them have been upside down or have been somewhat shaky. Right. Now with the prices up, the market a little stronger, if you are or want to sell or want to get out from under a note that you've been under for the last several years or whatever, you're seeing your opportunity to do it because the demand is there.
Right.
And while, it's a bit of a seller's market, yes, you don't have the cash maybe to bring to the table or cover costs or repairs or whatever, but that can be negotiated generally.
Right. What do you think about the pocket listings? Are they going to become a big problem going into next spring, trying to calculate home prices? Are they going to cause us a lot of problems, or do you think people are starting to move away from the pocket listings?
What I really think is going on is we have what I have termed just-in-time inventory. Much like the manufacturing, where they don't want to have to inventory all of their parts, and they as soon as they come in the door, they're used, and they don't use up warehouse space. Well, similarly, when houses are being lit, particularly, and incidentally, we need to be careful here. What we're talking about is not necessarily universal. It's the good house and the good neighborhood where the demand is high, which in Houston includes a big area, a lot of the areas, but it's not everywhere. But what is happening in a lot of these communities, the agents who are listing properties are also working with buyers on a regular basis. And in fact, right now they've got more buyers than they do sellers. So what happens when they are talking to a seller and the seller has decided, I'm going to list my house with you at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, come on by and we'll sign the paperwork. Well, that night, the agent's already talking to buyers saying, I've got this house coming on the market. Right. If you are interested, we're going to need to get an offer. And what's happening is by the time the listing hits the listing service, it's actually being entered as under contract. So they didn't really pocket the listing. They literally were just able to do their job, do their matching buyers and sellers together quicker.
Yeah, I've heard of some of the franchise companies, some of the larger big box companies, that they're having their agents hold them and offer them up to the office first before they put them out on MLS. Are you hearing that as well?
I've heard some of that, and from a business standpoint, you understand why, because the agents make more money if they get both the listing fee and the sales commission and so on, and don't have to split it with somebody outside. And that makes some sense. But there are rules within the MLS organizations that they only have a very limited amount of time to be able to work with that. But the market has been strong enough in terms of that demand side that in so many cases they're able to do that. So I don't want to go out on the limb and say anybody's really pocketing these listings for 2 or 3 weeks and violating rules. I think the market has just been strong enough they've been able to do it and get away with it. And it fits. It fits within the time frame.
It's just a unique situation.
Now that won't hold up forever. And I think we'll start seeing that slack off a little bit and especially in the winter as maybe demand falls a little bit in the normal seasonality of things. On the other hand, I could be totally wrong. It could be the demand's so strong now that the seasonality won't be as pronounced this year. Probably still be there to some extent, but not as pronounced. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think the market's slowing down a little bit compared to August. Definitely that. I can definitely tell a little bit of a difference, but it's not as slow as a normal September would be. So
yeah. In fact, my guess is that a lot of the agents who might have been thinking of taking vacations in October, November, December are rethinking when they're going to
go. That's right. All right, we're going to be right back with more here on Houston Real Estate Radio after a word from our sponsors.